We understand this is called the Holloway brooch and was awarded to those suffragettes who spent time in Holloway prison.
Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the best discoveries and more notable moments of the Antiques Roadshow since 2020.
As an auction estimate, sort of conservatively 10 to 15,000.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Number 10. Fabergé jewellery.
I think you knew they were by Fabergé already, didn't you?
I did,
Because your friend asked you to bring them.
We're kicking things off with a particularly valuable item. Two, in fact, a pendant and a brooch. And both are very unique. Any items from the prestigious jewellery firm, founded in St. Petersburg by Gustave Fabergé in 1842, is bound to excite the roadshow, mainly because they were made for the Russian royal family.
Which I strongly suspect is some sort of love message, no?
Although these particular items weren't, there is still something special about the glistening precious stones that travelled to England from Siberia. As Jeffrey Munn explains, this set was a personalised gift, potentially prototypes, thus carrying a valuation of up to £50,000 altogether.
Isn't she going to be happy?
Well, she is.
Yes, well.
Yes, I know.
As for selling them, the best advice comes from the translated inscription, maybe it's better not to wait. Number 9. David Hockney painting.
In this case, your picture says it's by David Hockney. This is not at all what I'm used to seeing by David Hockney.
Art expert Rupert Mars said it best with this discovery, a sparkling revelation. Although most artists become more famous after they pass, David Hockney, now an octogenarian, has certainly bucked the trend. His artwork is extremely sought after and valuable, though he may not have suspected how much his worth would grow when the then art student sold this piece to a Trimley St. Mary's signalman in 1957.
Turns out that he was in the village near Felixstowe in 1957, which is his last year at Bradford Art College.
The guest's grandfather had provided shelter, a cuppa, and then invited Hockney and fellow artist friend John Loker home for Sunday lunch before buying one of their works. It was a kindness certainly repaid in aplomb, as the green and brown landscape, made with the only two colours Hockney probably had, was valued at £20,000 to £30,000.
Just say thank you, Ben.
Thank you for that information.
Number 8. Battle of Britain medals.
The very first thing that I actually saw was not the Distinguished Service Order or the Distinguished Flying Cross, but actually that little clasp there, the one that says Battle of Britain.
World War II exemplified how never was so much owed by so many to so few. This late 2024 episode of Roadshow helps tell of those now legendary few, such as Douglas Bader, the commander of the 242 Squadron of the Spitfire pilots that successfully held back the Nazi invasion during the Battle of Britain, all despite having lost both of his legs a decade prior. The daughter of Bader's flight lieutenant, George Shedden, brought the medals earned by her father's bravery, but arguably more fascinating is the logbook signed by Bader, marvelously recounting those incredible events of that September day in 1940.
Shot down on September the 15th, 1940. Bailed out, foot got caught in the hood.
However, it's staying in the family, as Shedden's daughter proves that you can't buy history, even if it is valued at £60,000.
Crikey. Well, it's staying in the family.
Number 7. Gifts from the Tsar.
This is my great Uncle Alexander.
Already, we have seen stories of the skies and precious Russian items, but this entry brings us a piece of Russia's history from the seas. As the world entered the 19th century, naval officer Alexander Fraser was commanding the Neva and Nadezhda, two Imperial royal family ships, which were constructed in Britain and given to Russia. How do we know this? because it's inscribed on a little gold snuff box gifted to him from Tsar Alexander I in 1803.
This is an important object as far as I'm concerned, because it's not very often you get to handle something that a Tsar has presented to someone.
The Edinburgh man passed it down through the family until it reached his great-great-great-great niece, who brought it to the attention of Mark Allam. Ultimately valued at £20,000 to £30,000, it was, to quote the guest, quite a lot for a little box.
But it's a little box with great history attached to it.
Number 6, definitely not a doorstop.
I've always been perplexed by it, wondering what it is.
If this next item is anything to go by, we should really visit more car boot sales. The guest had done just that and got himself an odd-looking little sculpture without really knowing what it was. After forking over 50 quid for it, the man got it home and started putting it to truly worthwhile use as a doorstop. Indeed, when the Roadshow came to town, curiosity got the better of him, figuring that the experts might be able to give a bit more information about it.
What was so brilliant about him is he was like the first pioneer in mixing Nigerian art with Western art.
The experts knew exactly what it was. This doorstop was actually a piece from renowned Nigerian artist Ben Enwonwu and valued it at £10,000 to £15,000. The owner believed it was about 100.
I can see it's made you emotional.
Yeah, I had no inclination at all that this is going to be worth so much money.
Number 5, inside number 251.
So, what have we got here? These are lottery numbers.
At first, this may appear to be an ordinary house door number plate. However, the reveal of just whose childhood home it was affixed to elicited gasps of astonishment from the Roadshow spectators. Indeed, behind the number 251 of Menlove Avenue lived none other than John Lennon. Menlove Avenue was the Lennon family home until 1965 and served as the name for John's posthumous 1986 compilation album. The next residents didn't care much for the Beatles, and probably less so in having to deal with trespassers over their 36-year tenancy.
We're having breakfast one morning, opened the curtains, and there were 5 people in their garden.
Luckily, their nephew did, and they gave him this little piece of history, just as well since it could potentially be worth £16,000, though the guest might hold on to it for now.
I think this is a great little piece of Beatles memorabilia.
Number 4, a letter that survived the Titanic.
It's going to be very difficult for us to plunge into this extraordinary story of a survivor from the Titanic.
Over the Antiques Roadshow's nearly half-century run, there have been a few treasures brought from the well-documented and ill-fated RMS Titanic. They all tell a story, but few are as personal as this letter, from a father to his 18-year-old plate washer son. Post-collision, he was tasked with helping evacuation efforts, but unable to escape himself, the lad fell into the icy waters of the Atlantic.
He in fact saw a star in the sky, which he thought was his mother. And he sort of swam towards this star.
Most Titanic stories end there. However, the lad got to a lifeboat, was rescued, had kids, and went on to live a full life. Not only did he survive, but so did the letter tucked in his jacket pockets. Realistically, it would fetch £10,000 at auction, but his children are adamant about its next intended home, a museum.
Wow, that's very nice. But it's not going out the family, it's going into a museum.
Number 3, that guitar.
Now, you brought me in an exceptionally rare guitar with an even more interesting story.
We've talked about this particular guitar before, but we'd be remiss not to mention it as being a recent find of major significance. The fretless guitar, constructed by Bartels of California, is only one of 2 ever made. Whilst one made its way into the hands of Jimi Hendrix, this one made its way into our ears via Happiness is a Warm Gun, which fans of entry number 5's original owner know is by the Beatles.
I was asked to play guitar, which was great. Had lots of laughs, and at the end of the session, George said, "I'm not sure what to do with this, but you have a go." And I just got, handed the guitar.
The unique sounding instrument of choice was originally John Lennon's, then George Harrison owned it. But through not knowing what to do with it, Harrison turned it over to a studio guitarist who brought it to the Roadshow. A valuation of £400,000 just shows how significant it really is.
You know, to own a guitar that was once owned by both John Lennon and George Harrison, can you get a better history?
Number 2. Suffragette Medal. The Women's Social and Political Union, founded in 1903, knew that their actions had to be profound to secure equal voting rights for women.
We understand this is called the Holloway brooch and was awarded to those suffragettes who spent time in Holloway prison.
The WSPU was, of course, the suffragettes, earning a place in history that cannot be understated. The movement performed stunts that often led to incarceration, which only served as new platforms for political protest. A 2024 episode showcases a testament to one suffragette's efforts.
And hunger strike. Now, hunger strike was, she was only there quite a short time, but it was not pleasant.
Gertrude Metcalfe Shaw was awarded a Holloway brooch by the WSPU for her protestations during her 1913 imprisonment, including her 5-day hunger strike, which was likely met with violent response. The medal collected is valued at £25,000 to £30,000, but her great-granddaughter's aversion to relinquish shows pride eclipses any monetary worth.
You must be somewhat proud of her.
Very proud, very proud.
Number 1. An Imperial Chinese robe. The history of the relationship between England and China is somewhat convoluted.
There are those moments in your life that you will always remember, and I will always remember standing here, but I'll certainly always remember the first time that I saw this spectacular.
The two countries used to fight a lot, but then they'd also used to trade a lot too. One of the best reflections of the latter times was brought to the Roadshow in 2021, a, quote, spectacular robe. The 1750 origin alone makes it very rare, since the only other imperial attire like it is likely on display in Beijing.
And stain the silk, and if I just pull that back, you've just got this wonderful, rich...
Its design is a real show of true craftsmanship, colourful patterns which are quintessentially Chinese, and it's incredibly well kept for being nearly 300 years old, despite previously being used for playing dress-up. But even so, at auction, it would make a staggering £200,000 at least.
With the way the market is at the moment, I think that would make £200,000.
We've no doubt that 10 items from 5 years of the Antiques Roadshow can't really be enough. Tell us which ones you thought were the best in those comments below.